Hey guys, welcome back to another video on this channel. So in this video I'm gonna be rating my old intros. This video also counts as an intro progression, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Before the video starts, please press the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell all the time so you will never miss any of my videos. Thank you. Okay, let me be honest on this one. It's really bad. Like how from everything, it's really bad. The quality was really blurry, and the sound was really caught up with the background noise. But that was like what I could do when I just started YouTube, and I don't blame myself. Well, it's still bad. Okay, so on to the next one. It's actually not really that bad, and it's actually pretty decent for a starter, but I could do better. I think that time, like the intro, the GFX part was really blurry. I didn't really know how to use ROBLOX Studio or Blender, so I just screenshotted myself in a Photoshop game, but that was pretty cool and pretty smart to make an intro. And it was I use an automatic website, so yeah, no wonder it was so good. But me looking at it now, it doesn't really look amazing enough because the font doesn't really suit the background, and yeah. Okay, this intro was a total improvement from the previous one. It had like a pretty nice background, but it was still screenshotted from our Roblox Photoshop game. But it was actually a pretty good improvement, and I'll say that it's not really that bad. It doesn't really have any movements, it's just like a name and subscribe, but yeah, I don't think it's really that bad, and I think that was a good improvement. This was my first GFX intro that I have ever attempted to make, and I'll be honest, it was really bad. Like, oh my gosh, like it took me like more than 5 hours for it to render, and I barely knew how to animate. Like, I only started using Blender that time, so I didn't know that much, but I just forced myself to make an intro without knowing any more information. I didn't know about rigs yet, so I made an animation rigless, but I really liked the background and the color because it was actually my first time using Blender. But me looking at it now, it looks kind of dark, and the edit, we can still see a bit of the green screen in the videos, and I was a bad editor and a bad animator at that time. This animation had a big improvement in it, but I still didn't use a rig. The hand was caught up, like it didn't really connect. I didn't know how to make them straight without using a rig, but the background was actually cool. It was a bit more creative than before, so it kind of looks bad for me looking at it now, but the editing really improved, but the animation still sucks the same. So this intro, it was actually one of my favorite intros. It had a pretty decent background, and I'd say it's one of the best intros I've ever made. But still, the animation process was still weak because some of the objects in the animation were glitched to each other, and yeah, it's actually a pretty good improvement. It didn't have much movement. The camera, I didn't really know how to move the camera that time, but I think the animation skills improved a lot as well. Okay, on this animation, it literally improved like a lot. It was one of my favorite intros, and I think it went pretty well. The movement was still a bit weak and a bit slow and unrealistic, but I think it's acceptable, and it actually had a really cool background. The editing was also decent, and this was my first intro that I actually used a rig on, so I guess it was a major improvement as well. So this intro was also one of my best intros because I started thinking that I wanted a unique concept of an intro. Like, all of my previous intros was just my character waving and done. And I talked to myself, it seemed pretty boring seeing everyone's intros like that, so I wanted to mix it up a bit, make it a bit different, and I added a camera falling, and I didn't use the Cycles engine, but I used the Eevee engine, but make it look like Cycles. So I've added a few tricks on this one, and I started using HDRI backgrounds, and yeah, it turned out pretty well and it was pretty unique. But the walking animation was a bit unrealistic, and I was planning to improve that.
Sunk only you froze 'cause you gave her your sweater.
and this, the New Year intro, I actually rushed on this one a bit, so it may not turn out maximized, so I tried to make it as simple as possible. I really got the idea by fireworks, because every night on Chinese New Year's, I have a lot of Chinese neighbors and Chinese friends, and it's kind of noisy every time I want to go to sleep. There's always like firework noises, so yeah, that kind of gave me the idea to make a firework background. And I think this one was the animation was simple, a bit rushed, but I think it was okay. I wanted to add some real moving background, so I just wanted to try a few new things so I could make better intros.
Do you think I'm helpless? My algebra gon' equal you every time. Do you think I'm calling? Do you think I'm calling?